In a tense game like this, tense environment, I guess, where does your mind, your competitiveness go when, occasionally teammates, kind of have to come in and redirect you away from the refs?
Well, I didn't think they were going to give me a technical at any point tonight. I would have been really sad for people in Washington, D.C.
Just when you thought Caitlin Clark's rookie season couldn't get any more intense, her father steps in with words that shake the entire basketball world. With the playoffs looming and tensions at an all-time high, what he said from the stands during one critical game changed everything. This isn't just about basketball anymore. This is about a father watching his daughter walk a tightrope between greatness and self-destruction. And what happens next? Well, it might just determine whether Caitlin Clark becomes a legend or a cautionary tale. Let's rewind to where it all started, because this story, it's been building for years. When Caitlin Clark first burst onto the scene at Iowa,
Andrea Carter and Chiney Ogwumike, just how she needed to keep her emotions in check, how her team played, particularly well. She didn't play well, but her emotions had really got the best of her, and she acknowledged it. She acknowledges all the time. In fact, Lisa Bluter used to call technicals on her at practice because she gets so fired up. So no, I'm not concerned about her being fiery. I'm not concerned about any of those things, or the fact that she, airs her grievances with the refs. But we're so close, Gare Bear, in terms of the postseason. I mean, we've got a handful of games down the stretch. We've got Chicago losing to Minnesota, and then Atlanta losing to Washington, and Atlanta able to
wasn't just a scorer. She was a visionary, someone who could see plays 3 steps ahead of everyone else on the court. But here's the problem. Her teammates couldn't always see what she saw. Passes that looked impossible to her were just confusing to everyone else. There were moments of pure frustration where you could see it written all over her face. Why don't they get it? Why can't they keep up? But over time, something magical happened. Clark learned to communicate. She learned to articulate her vision, to help her teammates understand the game the way she did. By the end of her college career, they were
teammates don't quite do it. Learning how to communicate that, articulate what you're seeing. That's been the growth of Caitlin Clark throughout her career at Iowa. Some of those early frustrations with some players early. Now they understand what she's seeing. They understand how to move, and if they're open, she will find them.
Martin commits the foul. Clark thought the defender went straight up.
Moving like one organism, anticipating her every move. If she made eye contact, they knew to cut backdoor. If she hesitated for half a second, they knew the pass was coming. That growth, that was the foundation of everything that followed. But fast forward to her WNBA rookie season with the Indiana Fever, and suddenly there's a whole new problem. It's not about communication anymore. It's about control, or the lack of it. August rolls around, and Caitlin Clark is already sitting on 5 technical fouls. 5. Most players go entire seasons without hitting that number, but Clark, she's there before summer's even over. The incident that put her at 5 happened during a game against the Seattle Storm. Frustration had been building all night, and when another call didn't go her way,
My mom doesn't want that for me either, and I don't want to pay any more fines, so I'm done with that.
Something you rarely see. She hit the post of the hoop, just smacked it out of pure, unfiltered frustration. She tried to defend herself afterward, saying it wasn't directed at anyone, that it was just her letting off.
Circling her way through, finds an opening and banks it home. Indiana will reset. Clark, fire away. You bet! Come on!
But the referee, he wasn't having it. He told her straight up, that's disrespectful to the game. Technical foul. And just like that, Clark was one step closer to a line she really didn't want to cross. Then September came, and with it, the 6th technical foul. The Indiana Fever were facing the Las Vegas Aces, one of the toughest teams in the league. Clark was defending hard, doing everything she could to keep her team in the game, when she got called for a shooting foul. It was one of those moments where everything just boils over. She took her frustration out on the stanchion, and before she even had time to process it, the whistle blew again. Technical foul, number 6. Do you know what that means? One more. Just one more technical foul, and she'd be suspended for a game.
The scoring.
Yeah,
Is that accurate?
Yeah, it was definitely fun, and obviously I've gone against JC for quite a while now in my career. Every year I was at Iowa, she was really good at Ohio State, so I'm pretty familiar with her game and what she's about, and I think she's had a really good year for the Wings, and, you know, she just, like, kind of takes what they give you. She's always consistent. She's always going to step up to the plate and guard whoever she needs to guard, and, you know, happy for her, but, yeah, I thought the game was really fun. Obviously, once we got it to 8, I wish we could have kept that a little bit better. We didn't execute really in the half court as well, and when they started throwing some traps at us, we didn't respond to it great, so I think just executing that last minute and a half a little bit better where we don't have to, like, just go to the free throw line and make a bunch of free throws. I thought we were great at that, but you want to get to the point where you don't have to rely on that too. So I definitely love this type of game. Very high.
For a rookie trying to lead her team into the playoffs, that's not just bad, it's catastrophic. And that's when things got really interesting, because this wasn't just happening in a vacuum. People were watching. People were talking. And one of those people was Elle Duncan, the ESPN broadcaster who'd been one of Clark's most vocal supporters. Duncan dedicated an entire segment of her show to this issue, and she didn't pull any punches. She said she was concerned about Clark's developing attitude, concerned about how it was affecting her father, who had to sit in the stands and watch his daughter walk this tightrope. Duncan made it clear that she loved Clark's fire, that she admired her passion and competitive edge. But she also said something that hit hard. That edge has been a double-edged sword since her college days. And now it's threatening to cut her career short before it even really begins. Duncan's advice was simple: calm down. Learn to control it. Because if you don't, you're going to lose your temper at the worst possible moment, and it's going to cost you everything. Here's the thing, though. This behavior, it's not new. If you followed Caitlin Clark's college career at Iowa, you knew this was part of who she was. A lot of people jumped on the bandwagon during March Madness, but they didn't see the full picture. They didn't see the years of fiery outbursts, the arguments with refs, the visible frustration when things didn't go her way. During the tournament, the desk analysts, Andrea Carter, Chungumli, they were already talking about it. They could see it happening in real time. When the team played, well, but Clark struggled individually. Her emotions took over. And she knew it. She's always acknowledged it. But acknowledging a problem and fixing it, those are two very different things. Even in practice, this was a constant issue. Lisa Bludder, her college coach, used to call technical fouls on Clark during practice. Not as punishment, exactly, but as a reality check. Because Clark gets so fired up, so intense, that even in practice she's pushing boundaries. Duncan wasn't concerned about the fire itself. She said that outright. She wasn't worried about Clark airing her grievances with the refs. What she was worried about was timing. Because, at this point, the Fever were so close to the postseason. Just a handful of games left. Chicago was losing to Minnesota. Atlanta was losing to Washington. Every game mattered. Every moment mattered. And Clark was one technical foul away from watching a crucial game from the sidelines. Then came the Minnesota Lynx game in September. And if you want to understand why Clark was at her breaking point, this is the game to watch. From the opening tip, she was taking hits. Physical, aggressive contact that should have been called, but wasn't. And Clark, she was keeping track. You could see it in her body language, in the way she looked at the refs after every no call. The frustration was building. And then Nafisa Collier, one of the league's toughest defenders, nudged Clark to the floor. Not a blatant shove, but enough to send her down. Clark stayed on the ground for a moment, looking up at the ref, waiting for the whistle. It never came. She later admitted that she needed to keep her emotions in check, that she could have handled it better. But in that moment, all she could feel was the injustice of it. But here's where the story takes a turn that nobody saw coming. We have to go back a bit, back to a game earlier in the year when Clark was playing for the Iowa Hawkeyes against Holy Cross. Clark was doing what she always does, arguing with the refs, demanding calls, making sure everyone knew when she thought something was unfair. Holy Cross was up 29, and during the play, her teammate Kate Martin got knocked to the floor. Clark immediately jumped up, demanding a foul call, getting right in the ref's face. And that's when her father, sitting in the stands at Carver Hawkeye Arena, did something that made headlines. According to Fox Radio Sports, he told her to shut up, just straight up told his daughter to stop arguing and focus on the game. Can you imagine? Your own father, from the stands, telling you to get it together. That's not just embarrassing, it's a wake-up call. A public, undeniable wake-up call. But did Clark listen? Well, here's the complicated part. She doesn't think she has an attitude problem. She's admitted that maybe she went a little overboard with her complaints against the Lynx. Maybe she let her emotions get the best of her a few times. But then she said something that tells you everything you need to know about who Caitlin Clark is. That's never something I would ever change. She's not interested in modifying her behavior. She's not interested in toning it down. Even with 6 technical fouls hanging over her head, even with suspension 1 mistake away, she's standing firm. She doesn't want to change who she is. And there's context here that matters. Clark is the NCAA all-time points leader. She's a 2-time AP Player of the Year. She's done things on a basketball court that most people can only dream of. So when she gets a technical foul for saying, "damn it," after a bad play, just a moment of personal frustration, not directed at anyone, and the ref tees her up, she thinks that's biased. She thinks that's unfair. Because in her mind, she's not attacking anyone. She's not being disrespectful. She's just being herself. But here's the reality. The league doesn't care about intent. The league cares about rules. And the rules say that 6 technicals is the line. Cross it, and you're sitting out. So what happens when a rookie is staring down that kind of pressure? When one more outburst means missing a game that could define your season. That's where the support system comes in. And for Clark, that support system is anchored by one person, Aaliyah Boston. Boston has basically become Clark's handler on the court. Anytime Clark starts to lose it, anytime she's about to say something she'll regret, Boston is there, pulling her away from the refs, redirecting her attention, keeping her focused. And the hilarious part, Boston is the one who ended up with a technical foul in one of those games. She's literally babysitting Clark, keeping her out of trouble, and somehow she's the one who gets whistled. Clark thought it was the funniest thing in the world, but it also shows you how much her teammates care. They're not just tolerating her intensity, they're protecting it, because they know that when Clark is locked in, when she's channeling that fire the right way, she's unstoppable. The WNBA has a clear rule: 7 technical fouls in a season, and you're suspended for 1 game. Clark finished the regular season with 6. 6. She was 1 bad moment away from disaster. But here's the thing, technical fouls reset after the regular season. Once the playoffs start, you're back to 0. So Clark made it. She didn't miss a game. But the pressure of those final games, the constant awareness that one more slip-up would cost her everything, that was a test of mental toughness unlike anything most rookies face. And she passed. Barely, but she passed. Clark herself admitted she didn't think she'd get a technical in that final stretch. She joked that she would have been really sad for the fans in Washington, D.C. if she'd gotten suspended. She tried her best. Her teammates helped. Her mom definitely didn't want her getting suspended. And the fines? Clark made it clear she's done paying those. She's done with the technicals. At least, that's what she says. Now, let's talk about what Clark actually accomplished this season, because the technical fouls are only part of the story. This woman had one of the most dominant rookie seasons in WNBA history. She broke Simone Augustus's rookie scoring record, finishing with 761 points. She averaged 19.1 points and 8.4 assists per game. In one of her final regular season games, she dropped 35 points and dished out 8 assists, shooting 6 of 14 from three-point range. She set the single-season assist record. She became the face of the league practically overnight. And despite all the drama, despite all the technicals, despite all the noise, she didn't miss a single game. And let's not forget her college legacy. 2 ESPY awards. NCAA all-time leading scorer with 3,951 points, breaking Pete Maravich's record. First woman ever to win the ESPY for Best Record-Breaking Performance, a category that's existed since 2001. She did all of that in just 4 years at Iowa. For years. Most players spend their entire careers chasing that kind of recognition, and Clark earned it before she even turned pro. So here's where we are. Caitlin Clark is heading into the playoffs with a clean slate. No more technical foul pressure. No more worrying about suspension. Just pure basketball. But the question remains, can she control herself? Can she channel that fire, that intensity, that unshakable belief in herself without crossing the line? Her father thinks she can. Her teammates believe she can. Even Elle Duncan, who called her out publicly, believes she can. But the only person who can actually make it happen is Clark herself. Because here's the truth. This rookie is just getting started. She's already rewriting the record books. She's already proven she can dominate at the highest level. She's got the talent, the support, and the drive to become one of the greatest players this league has ever seen. But she also has a choice to make. Does she keep pushing boundaries, keep testing limits, keep letting her emotions dictate her actions? Or does she evolve? Does she grow? Does she find a way to be fierce without being reckless? The league is watching. The fans are watching. And you better believe her father is watching. Because if Caitlin Clark can figure this out, if she can harness that fire without letting it burn her, there's no limit to what she can achieve. The playoffs are here. The stage is set. And this rookie, she's only warming up.